All right, so let's give this a shot. So you're asking a nice little easy way to back up using Git. So if you go to GitHub, desktop.github.com, there's a nice little GUI here, and you can download it, which I have just done, and install. Um, while that's doing that, what you want to do is navigate to your C drive, users, your name, your app data, roaming, Dark Souls, and this is your save. Your save file. So this is my current save. So what I am going to do, which you will not need to do, of course, is just get rid of my saves temporarily so we can start fresh. That said, you don't have to start fresh. You can totally start with what you already have, but just for demo purposes, it should be easier to start fresh. And I'll reload Dark Souls in a second. Oh, it's done loading. That's why it's taking a while. So GitHub software is basically, with Git, it lets you do a huge amount of um, with version control, where you can basically just track your progress in all different possible ways. The GitHub software kind of simplifies it quite a bit because it can get quite overwhelming when you're not used to what you're doing. And since we're just saving for game stuff, it's basically all you need. It has all the functionality that you need, and not a whole lot more. Alternative softwares can programs like this, for example, and you if I load up a project, you can see that it gets kind of confusing when you're just looking to save games with a whole bunch of stuff. All the stuff is useful, but may not want to use it all. Okay, don't worry about that. So, these are some old ones that I had. Okay, so create, clone, or add. So what we want to do is create a repository, they call it. And I can just call it Dark Souls Save Game. And we want to tell it to put it in that same folder. So go C drive, C drive. Ah. Okay, so that might happen. Name, app data, app data, roaming, Dark Souls. Okay, and it looks like it's going to force that name on there for some stupid reason. So instead, what we might do is just go to roaming and then name this. So folder name. So now in here, it's created these files. Now thing folder. So you'll see there's that .git file. Inside here is all of the. You just don't touch this stuff. Basically, this is all the stuff that saves everything to do with everything. So this is the most important file. You can even delete your save game and get it back, as long as this .git file stays. And you can back this up too. These empty folders, don't worry about them. So we're now in Dark Souls. And the very first thing we've done is just added some pointless files in this case. So now that we are set up, we're going to do a little bit of demo as to what happens. Um, it's going to go full screen, so you may not be able to see it this very second. Just giving a second to load it up and go into window, accept the license agreement. Scroll down, it's the giant license agreement, because of course I've removed the save file, so it's starting a brand new game. And in a second you'll see why I've done this. Go window, yes, make it smaller. Sure, there we go. All right. So it's because I've started a new game. So hang on. You probably can't hear this, but it's just blaring the music in my ears. All right. So now we've got these files again, which were these two files, which are your actual save game. So ignore those two. These two files here. And in here, it'll say refresh. Changes. Here we go. Sorry, changes. So it says two files have been added. So this little plus means added. So it recognized that we added some files, and now we can just say start a new game. So what we've done just now is it recognizes the changes. So we added files, and if we make a save game or or make progress in our game, it'll recognize those changes too. You type in what you've done, just a little note to remind yourself what you've done, and then you say commit. And what that'll do is it'll save your progress at that point. It'll lock it in, basically. And up here, you'll see there's these little markers. You see it, started a new game. And this is currently where we are at. So if I was to let's make a new character. Oh my god. Oh my god, character select screen. Oh my god. So this can be a male young knight with divine blessing and wow. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Alright, let's run around a bit. So we have a character. Wow. Alright, we've made progress. Actually, you know what? Well, it's going really slow. Video recording software. Alright, we killed the guy. And we picked up an item, and then there's that little flame thing in the corner that says it's saved. So we've saved our game. And now we're going to quit our game because we have made such amazing progress. We are going to go back to here. And here you go. So it says one change. So it recognizes that something has happened. I can just say killed first guy, made amazing progress. And now it's locked in. So now up here, killed first guy, made amazing progress. Just now. Started a new game. And so now we have locked that in. So if we, for some reason, wanted to go right back to that point in time before we killed that guy, we can go back here. And to do so, we'd click on this and go revert. But we are currently here in our world. Now, so basically, so as far as just keeping backups, that's all you need to do. Just just play. And then every now and then when you do something significant that you actually want to back up, just jump in here, type what you did, um, and yeah, and then just keep track as you go. And these little things will just pop, 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 and you'll end up with this really long, long, long line of all of your progress. And it is kind of funny sometimes to look at your progress and see what exactly you actually did. But here is the other fancy thing that you can do. So um, let's go in. Actually, hang on. Let's say we've made our knight character. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. Branch. Create a new branch from this point. So it's important that you click on the right point um, in time to see where you want to create a branch from. And what a branch does, hopefully, will be fairly obvious. So now I'm going to call this like a pyro. And you see it veers off, and we're now on the pyro branch. And what this is like it's separate changes to your files. So everything that you save on this branch will continue on, but it won't affect this master branch, which is where we were before. So if I switch back to master, which is the beginning, we're back here with our knight, created our knight, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to switch to pyro now. And it's important that you only do this the switching when you are actually, sorry, I screwed that up. When you are at the screen, let me just go in here real quick. It's important you only do that switching when you are at the screen that says press any key, because it hasn't loaded the file at that point, so you can do whatever you want to actually make changes to the file. If you don't do that at that screen, what will happen is you will change your file, but it has already loaded the other file before you changed it, and it'll just save over that, which is not a problem because you can revert back to any point in time, but um, it's kind of a hassle. So you want to make sure that just before you change uh, saves or characters or whatever, you go back to this main screen here where it says press any key, press any button, and it has not yet loaded the file. So we are now in Pyro, and you will see that when I press up any button, it says up in the top corner that it is loading file, checking save data. So that's where it's actually loaded it. And what we're going to do is we're going to delete this guy, and we're going to make a new guy. Yes, indeed. Call him Pyron, that's because that is all the rage currently, and we'll make him a Pyromancer, and he can have a Fire Gem because he's a Pyro. Go. And load that up. So here we are. Still going very slow, but sure, why not? And just run around. Let's move out of the keyboard. Uh, just a man. Oh, he's gone, and maybe this character's going to go pick up something. He's making amazing progress. Okay, so we've done something new with this character, and we're going to quit. You don't actually have to quit um, to check the progress. Like you'll see, it's already, because every time it saves, it'll check it. But I am just going to quit anyway to get me back to that original screen. So what I'm going to do, see here, this little dot up next to changes says that there are changes that it's discovered. It's recognized that there's a change, so I could say created Pyro guy and got some items, and now it has locked that in here. But that is separate from where we're back here and we made our night guy. So if I was to load it up now, of course it would load the pyro dude. But we're gonna click on this, so now we're in this thingamajig. So now when we go to load, it's going to check the save. Yeah, and there's my knight. And then you can play with your knight all the way through. And of course, if you have multiple characters in here, that's all locked into the one save. So you can play like that with lots of characters. Or an alternative way of thinking about it is if you make a branch, if you just branch off everything from the very beginning and make one character in here per branch, um, you can save the progress of each character independently. So if you make a huge amount of change on one character, and then you make a huge amount of progress on one character, and you make a huge amount of progress on another character, and then you go, crap, that first character, I wanted to go back and undo some of that stuff, but I can't undo it without undoing all of my characters because they're all together. Um, if you have them branched off separately, you can totally undo it because you just jump to that character's branch and then just go right back to the point that you wanted to change it. Um, and it's not that hard because I mean ultimately when you're loading characters you exit the game and then you go back to the screen anyway. You just have to go out of the game to change thing instead of doing it directly in there. Um, yeah, um, so that's basically it. I mean, you've got different. Oh, so if you've got one character already and you're wanting to respec them without wasting respecs, this is another use for branches. When you branch off, um, you see it comes out of this point here. When you branch, it branches you from the point um, that you are currently at. So because I have branched from here, I think I branched. So that actually comes out of there um, at that point in time. So you can make all the progress you want, getting your character all the way up to the highest level that you feel like, 120 or whatever you want to, and then from that moment in time, branch out a whole bunch of different branches, which can be things like faith build, strength build, whatever you want. And then in those games, make your respec and carry on and do whatever you want. And then when you feel like going back to a different one, just change, change, change. Um, yeah. And to give you one more example, just close that down and let me delete all of this. Put back my actual game. Just copy it just in case. And let's load up again. Go back to Dark Souls and look at my history. Whoa, there's heaps of stuff in here. There's tons of stuff. You can sort of like scroll back. There are other programs that have a slightly better view of the history than this. Fortunately, this is not so great, but you see, you've got all these different branches for different characters, just random stuff. Um, different, like for example, I decided to make an Henry cosplay character just to see if it was going to be any fun, and it turned out it was quite fun. And I made that in my main um, list of characters, so I had 10 characters in there. And then what I've done is branched it off, so it's on its own separate thing, and then deleted all the other characters except for that one particular character in that one. So the original one is unmodified, but that particular branch only has that one character in it now, and I can just continue on like that. Yeah, that's about it. So hopefully that helps. I know this is probably a really long video, but